Alrighty. Here we are, another week around the Trust Fire. Your host, Mathias, along with the boy.
John.
Some interesting news stories this week.
Quite a bit from Games Workshop.
Yeah, it's something I would never have expected from Games Workshop, I must say.
Oh, I wonder what you're talking about.
Oh, well, when we get to that story, you'll know.
Alrighty.
But there's a lot of good things coming up this week. We have is it this week? Games Fest, or not Game Fest,
Warhammer 40K Fest.
Warhammer Fest. That's the word I was looking for.
Well, I think this one is Warhammer Fest, but specifically 40K.
Yeah, I guess you could call it 40K Fest.
Yeah, no AOS news.
As it should be. You know, this is a 40K thing.
Yes.
35 years. It's crazy.
It's been a while. I remember when Fantasy was 25 years. That was I still have that White Dwarf at my parents' house. Somewhere in a box.
I probably have that White Dwarf too.
Yeah, the 25th anniversary of Fantasy. That was a fun one.
Mm-hmm. But I can't wait to see. But we can move on to our first story, which is going to be the model and coin of the month, which is going to be Cursed City themed. Which
yeah, this is kind of crazy.
That must mean there's nothing of note coming out in October.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting that it's Cursed City. Like, are they giving a Varg heist away? Because that's a pretty big model, you know? Are they giving actually I picked up last month's model of the month, the squat, and he came as in his own sprue, which is kind of interesting. Never seen that before.
That's weird. Don't they usually come pre-built?
Yeah, they usually come pre-built because they come from the big kit. So yeah, it was interesting getting it's interesting that they made a squat sprue by itself.
Well, to answer your question, just gotta scroll all the way down here. Did you give us a list on what stuff is coming to, or what stuff is going to be available? I think, right? Or I guess I was wrong.
No, this is just they just list demo minis, the normal demo minis, but yeah, apparently Chris had seen me. I actually want to stop by RGW to get a free Cursed City mini because yeah, it's and these aren't just like your average unit grunt member. They're pretty detailed special characters that can easily retail for like 25 to 30 on their own, depending on which one it is. I mean, the Vargolf is easily a $40 model.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to check out some GWs. No more local GW, but some GWs that are close by-ish to see what they have.
Somewhere within the 20-mile radius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised to see this. Just for the fact that, you know, they said that model of the month would be the hit new thing of that month. So to see Cursed City here, it's kind of weird. It makes me wonder, are they actually going to be doing more stuff with Cursed City, or is it just because it's Halloween?
Oh, that's funny. That's actually not a bad tie-in, Cursed City for Halloween. And October was so last year.
October never happens. They always are like, it's going to be October, don't worry, guys. And then, like, all the releases are in the next month.
It's like pre-order October 30th for a November release.
It's always weird. But yeah, we got those nice detailed models, and then we got the coin that's also coming with it. Just the Cursed City logo. Not bad. I wish the coin was silver, but I guess because it's, you know, what's it called? Specialist board game kind of deal. They changed the color. Kind of like what they did with the Black Library and Citadel. So, interesting thing they did there. Other than that, nothing too much worth of note. Head over to the local GW, get yourself a nice looking model.
Yes.
Moving on from this, we go to Sunday preview. And, of course, since Warhammer Fest is this week, you get the Black Templar, Emperor's Champion, Warhammer Fest model.
Yep.
But
Warhammer Day, I guess it's the official event name, Warhammer Day, even though it's specifically 40k. Should have been 40k Day, but whatever. It's in the name.
it's whatever. But I'll definitely be picking up.
Yeah, it's a really cool Emperor's Champion. He's getting a helmet for sure. Do not like that face, but yeah.
We got that. We already gave our thoughts on that last week. Helbrecht getting his novel softback in digital and audio.
Yeah, I wonder who Mark Collins is. Black Library. What else has he written? Not a lot.
Well,
All right.
hopefully it's good then.
Hopefully it'll be good.
AOS, we getting the High Elf book.
Yes, Lumineth getting their new books. Will it be OP? Who knows?
Well, it's High Elves, so
The Elven tradition to be.
if you just go by the statistics, yes, they will be OP like they always are. But I wouldn't really know because I don't play too much AOS. Getting that, we're getting the Vanguard box, which I think we talked about. I really can't remember.
I don't think this was revealed. Maybe it was, but it's pretty generic. You got your archers, your spearmen, your elite unit, and your HQ. So it's a good pickup if you want to start Lumineth. These are all core units except for the Blade Lords, and they were pretty good last codex. So I can imagine they'll be pretty solid this one.
Okay, we got that. More Lumineth cards, more dice. Really lacking on the dice again.
The blank, not blank, the plain face design or color instead of the fancy marble one that I personally like.
Yeah, they should have gone with the regal marbly blue.
Yeah.
Since that's all high elf aesthetics. Whatever, whatever they want to do. The least interesting codex to come out, the Sons of Bahamut.
Yeah, I hate this army. I already got my thoughts.
Yep, we could just skip over that. The new model, the alternate model. Oh, wait, that's not the alternate model.
These are the old Warhammer Giant is getting reboxed, I believe, into a squad of 3 and a single model, which is cool. It's a cool model. It's a classic.
It is a classic. I don't know if you know, but do they still have the rule where the giant falls on people?
Yeah, it's just like mortal wounds now. Like when you die, it's like the Tyranid thing. When you die, you deal more wounds, like an explosion. But I think it's guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it still has that rule. It's not as crazy and random as it was in Fantasy or even first edition AOS, but it is there. It is there.
Well, I just remember in my the local GW, no one really ran giants, so you never got to use that template they had for when a giant would fall.
Oh yeah.
Of course, with my army, the giant would never get close enough with all the poison arrows being launched at it. But I just wanted to know if they still had that rule. Go the dice, same thing. Don't need to go over it. 30k, Land Raider Proteus.
Yeah, Land Raider. This is essentially the 30k Land Raider. Different design from the 40k one, functions exactly the same.
All right then. And
Uh,
then how many are you picking up?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to. I could see myself getting one eventually, but I have two rhinos and two Sicarans I need to work on in terms of vehicles, and I don't want to add another vehicle to my backlog because I'm not the biggest fan of tanks as miniature tanks in general. So
I'm surprised at your restraint. I would have thought you said 5. Not gonna
I
lie.
know, right? No, I actually don't like. I guess I like Land Raiders. I guess they're. I just don't like how they're kind of required for Terminators because otherwise you're moving 6 inches a turn because Cataphractii can't run. I mean, yeah, you could take Tartaros, but then you have a 5 up invul, so it's not as tanky.
Right.
And if I play like Sons of Horus or something, I would just deep strike my Terminators and not have to worry about Land Raider. Yeah, Land Raider. But I do see myself picking one up because my Blood Angel list, I do have a Terminator Command Squad and a Terminator Praetor who cannot deep strike, so they would need a ride to where they need to go. So there's that.
Well, I don't see myself picking up any of this anytime soon, so I don't have to worry about that. Thankfully.
Human
Let's see what else we got here. We got World
re-release.
Eaters,
Yep.
and is this all World Eaters? Oh, they are.
And
Cataphractii shoulder pads, normal shoulder pads. Lots of corn love there, or World Eaters, I should say, not corn. They're getting all their things. Blood Angels.
so these are not new, and I know that because I have the torsos. My assault squad has these torsos.
We talking about the Blood Angels or the?
Yeah, the Blood Angel ones.
Okay.
These are re-release. And I only know that because I have.
You're looking at it right now.
Yep. And they're cool. They're cool kind of alternate torsos.
Oh, it gives that army that different flair.
Yeah.
Got that Black Library. We got Brotherhood of the Storm coming to audio.
This is cool. I've read this. I haven't listened to it, but I've read this, and it's one of the few Horus Heresy stories that don't have Space Marines fighting Space Marines. It's literally just the Khan fighting orcs. And it's a prequel to the White Scars novel, Scars, their 30K novel. So it kind of introduces the characters that we're going to meet in Scars, gives them a little bit more background, and yeah, they just fight orcs, which is cool. If you like Great Crusade stuff, this is one of the very few Great Crusade pieces of literature that we have in Black Library, and it was pretty good. So I recommend it. I might pick it up again to read it because it was a fun read.
Hmm. Interesting. All right. Is there not a lot of Xenos fighting in the Horus Heresy?
No, outside the first novel, there's barely any. Like they fight the Megarachnids, and I guess the Interrex or Xenos as well.
Hmm.
Because in the second book they fight those that other human empire, mini empire, with like 2 planets or whatever.
Right.
And the rest of them, it's just Space Marines fighting Space Marines. I mean, the Primarch novels have a lot of Xenos fighting because it's the Great Crusade.
Of course.
But in terms of the Horus Heresy, and in general, we don't see a lot of legions fighting Xenos other than this one. I can't think of actually any other. I think in some of the anthologies, there's some flashbacks, like with Horus fighting with the Emperor. But in terms of a novel that's straight up set during the Great Crusade fighting aliens, it's just this one and and Horus Rising feature of that.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Won't be seeing my Eldar in there, huh?
Now, oh yeah, I guess in Fulgrim they fight Eldar for a chapter, but it's not really the point of the book. But they do appear. Eldred appears.
So I've heard. All right. Well, there you go. Another book recommended. Let's see. We got Legacies of Betrayal.
Another anthology of stuff. There's some good stories in here. I've because I remember thinking of picking this book up, but I already read the all the good stuff that's in it. So I do recommend it if it's just more 30K that you want. It's not a it's a pretty good compilation. It has Brotherhood of the Storm as well because it's a novella rather than a full novel, and
Mm-hmm.
has some other stories there as well.
Okay. Got Scourge of Fate, which Slaves of Darkness audiobook. Probably based off the new Model Monday. Cause it's kind of who it looks like.
Yeah, some Slaves to Darkness stuff for Age of Sigmar.
And then we gotta continue to show out that Christmas stuff. We got some Christmas socks.
Yep, we got some socks.
Glory to the Emperor. Uh, what's the holiday? Sanguinius Day.
Uh,
Sanguinor.
there's a Sanguinala and there's the Feast of the Emperor's Ascension, stuff like that.
Sanguinala Day. There you go. And then Warhammer Plus doesn't look like any of the animations are coming out this week.
But we get Bad Ab War PDF. I am slightly excited for that because Bad Ab War is super cool.
And that is it. And then obviously the previews here. We got the 8th. It's gonna be the big day.
Yep.
Big event. It's gonna be at 6 a.m. West Coast time. So as we wake up, we'll be able to find out what it is.
Do you think they'll announce 10th edition?
I know that's the hope that everyone wants. And it's a pretty big hope. But we still technically have two armies we have and we know nothing about. Well, two armies that we haven't had any new releases for, I should say. Cause I think World Eaters is gonna get a big display.
Yep. And we said Guard too, right?
Guard's gonna get like, I don't know, a new tank and
You infantry, bunch of stuff.
maybe some HD.
I think for sure we're gonna see Guard and World Eaters and the next Kill Team box.
Yes. Will 10th edition come out? I think it'll be teased.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I would hope not. Because I don't think they haven't ironed out their 6 months of this seasons for 40K yet.
Yeah.
I think we need a little bit more time for 40K, but then again, usually when we have the last army released, it's usually time for the new codex. I mean, new edition. So
New edition.
it would be weird. And if they do announce it, I think we're gonna get a few Primaris Space Marines being revealed as well.
Oh my gosh, please have my Terminators and the Primaris Assault Marines. Please, Games Workshop. Give me a reason to pay my Black Templars.
I think that's what would happen if 10th edition got announced. I don't think 10th edition is going to be announced.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is one, it's Warhammer 40K day, so they expect something big. And they also on their Facebook they've been asking like, "What's your favorite edition?" So I'm like, "Huh, are they hinting something? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just grasping at minor straws, but who knows?"
Yeah. If I had to guess, if I had to re-guess, big World Eaters and a little bit of Guard, because we know there's a new tank coming. That's all we know.
Yep, there's a new Kazarkin and the new character,
which we've already seen.
Yeah, I maybe the whole Kazarkin squad I could see being revealed.
I would assume they're gonna announce another. They'll show off another HD unit, or they'll show off a big old regiment being
Yeah.
revamped. That's like, I don't know. I don't want to say Steel Legion. I want to say the Australians.
Australians would be cool, but it would probably be like Steel Legion or Krieg or something.
Yeah, I would assume like a big box set of Australians or whatever, or Steel Legion. But that's what I would assume. I wouldn't go 10th edition. I think it's too early. Even if it is the 35th anniversary of 40K. I don't think they're going to do it.
That's fair. Also, for sure going to see the next Kill Team box.
If things had gone according to plan, aka pandemic never happened, yes, I would say 10th edition would be coming out. But I think it's too early. And
yeah, I mean, either way though, it's still coming out in June, regardless when they announce it. That is like 95% because of how what's it called, the shareholder thing works.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be in June. But yeah, like but yeah, it's early. You know, June, 6 months, 6, 7. No, it's more than 6 months. It's 9 months away, almost.
Yep.
So I don't think we'll. Yeah, I don't think realistically we'll be seeing that.
I agree. But there we go. And of course, we'll get the next 2 kill teams announced as well. It'll be another 2-player box set, most likely.
It's either so it's gonna be two out of these 4: Necrons, Tyranids, Votan, and Guard.
I would assume Votaan. I would assume Votaan and Necrons. If those were my 4 options, that's who I would choose.
Yeah,
because
Necrons. There was a rumor that it. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because for Guard they're gonna do a total rip off of Aliens.
With Tyranids, that'd be cool.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool actually. I would like that.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say there was a rumor that it's gonna be Necrons and Guard, but I agree. I think Tyranids and Guard would be way more. Well, actually, take it back. Tyranids and Guards would be thematic, but what would be even more thematic is Squats and Tyranids.
True.
Yeah, because for all the listeners who don't know, the reason why Squats didn't exist for the longest time is the lore was that they got eaten by Tyranids. So that would be kind of fun throwback to that kind of thing.
You
Should be
think
kind
they're
of
gonna
fun.
make like a little squat Gene Stealer?
Oh, that would be so funny. Gene Sailor Squat.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I would make more. I guess I would make more sense thematically.
Yeah, but they could still do Guard Tyranids because that also makes a lot of sense thematically. But the Votan one would just be kind of memey, of like, oh, by the way, not squatted anymore, haha.
True. Well, speaking of kill team, we have this season's kill team balance data sheet here for quarter 3. Good to see that they're keeping track of their game here.
Yep.
I kind of wish they did this for Warcry, but here we go.
Warcry has way too many factions. Warcry has a billion factions.
True.
As much as I would like the stats there.
True, but here we go. We got the Phobos Strike team being last place here at 39, which not surprised. The fact that anyone's playing the Phobos Strike team is a surprise. I feel like they were too generic.
I was actually looking. It's even worse because I was looking at the rules for the Phobos Strike team, and the rules aren't generic. Like you could have Reavers in there, and you could have Intercept or Infiltrators and Incursors, which are the different Phobos armored ranged unit.
Hmm.
But the box is just so lame. Like, I'm even more mad because they could have included some Reaver bits in there, like Reaver with a power sword or a Reaver with double bolt carbines, like akimbo. That would be kind of cool. But no, it's just all infiltrators. Please, come on, Games Workshop. Why? Just why?
Yep. Well, we got that. The compendium not doing too well either.
Which makes sense because Compendium was more of just a slap chop index kind of thing. Kind of see what was available as opposed to actually having balanced and interesting teams. I think they reserve that energy for the
True.
actual kill teams.
Then the Warp Coven. Trying to remember who the Warp Coven is.
His Thousand Suns.
That's 1,000 Suns.
Yeah.
My boy's doing me, disappointing me like always. But that's the bottom three, and then looking at the top three, we got Wormblade, which are the
It's the Gene Stealer
Gene
cults.
Stealer cults, the Blooded, which are
That's
the
surprising. So Blooded are actually one of the worst kill teams in the community it's one of the worst teams that the community has declared. But it's doing so well here because Blooded is so bad. It's only played by really good players who kind of like, oh, I want a challenge, I'm gonna play Blooded. So very few people play Blooded, and all the people that play Blooded are like really good. So it kind of bumped up their win percentage. And I think they mentioned that too in the article. It's like, yeah, while Blooded had the second highest win rate, the day is unreliable because they had the lowest pick rate out of all the teams.
Blooded, the what's it called?
It's the Trader Guard one.
The
I'm actually
Trader Guard.
painting them right now.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought they were the Sisters of Battle,
Oh, those are the novitiates, which are the
the
number
top
one,
one,
top one.
which is interesting because I thought those were. I would have thought those were the weakest ones, but here we are.
Um, Fate dice. Free rerolls wins games. Actually, they are.
Free rerolls? You mean roll whatever I want, right?
Yeah. Well, I think in Kill Team it's a reroll, but actually, I think they're the only team to receive a major balance update or a nerf, and it nerfs that ability got nerfed.
No, you don't say. Who would have guessed that that powerful ability would be getting nerfed?
Right.
Oops. Well, anyways, it's good to see what's happening here in the July and August. And it's good to see that the game's still kicking.
Absolutely.
Though I do wait to see what the other teams get to offer, which is the next story here. Special Forces. This is pretty much all the old kill teams coming in.
Yeah, getting 40k rolls. So we got the Blooded getting 40k rolls, and we got the Kroot and the Breachers also getting 40k rolls.
Yes.
And they're mostly terrible.
Well, what did you expect?
Right. So the Kroot are terrible because they're an elite choice that has a bunch of random weapons that aren't scoring. The Breachers are also an elite choice that have a bunch of random rules, but don't put them as they're like Scions but worse. And the Guardsmen are actually the best because you can just so twofold. One, they're for what they do, they're a cheap cultist-ish unit that are cheaper than cultists, but get less stratagems than cultists or available to them than cultists. However, that's one. It's a good thing, because you could use them as a cheap cultist unit if you just want some cheap objective holders, whatever, because they're cheaper than cultists.
Right.
And they're also cool because now all you Lost in the Dam players and Trader Auxilia players can have a basic squad, which could get special weapons and stuff, which is cool. You could have a Trader Guard squad with some stuff. Star Striders also, I forgot to mention Star Striders and Galloplox got some rules. They're mostly okay.
I would
Star
assume they're pretty
Striders
much
are,
the same as they
yeah,
were.
they're exactly. So Star Striders are still good for Custodes if you want the super cheap action monkeys. Same for Galloplox if you play a Nurgle army or Death Guard or yeah, Nurgle, a Chaos Demon Nurgle army. But overall, I think the winners are definitely the Trader Guardsmen because again, Trader Guard have been a thing for a while, mostly in outside supplements, not really a main codex like Siege of Vrax or a campaign book like Eye of Terror. Never really been in a codex. So now bringing that back to ninth edition, that's kind of cool that you have those options.
Hmm. Yep. Well, it was inevitable that they come here, but
Yeah, which is great. Absolutely great.
at least you can use them in your big forces if you want. You're most likely not going to in a competitive list, unless you're Custodes and you have the the
Yeah,
action monkeys like John said. But even then, I don't think you're gonna take them.
yeah.
But speaking of 30K and bad rules,
Oh
we
boy, what's going on?
got Leagues of Votaan.
Oh, yeah, this is interesting. I forgot this is this week. I would love to talk about this.
Yeah, this is something I did not expect GW to ever do, and that was apologize. I'm like, wow, they apologized for bad rules that they made.
That's crazy. Never happens. Now, is that a good thing? I don't know, actually. I don't know. Because on one hand, right, it's great. They taking ownership for making a codex that sucks. Or sorry, that's too OP. It's bad for the sucks for the game. And it's before they've sold models. The only models they've sold are the ones in the start, the army box, which are the basic infantry, some HQs, and I think the bikes. Was it the bikes?
Yeah.
So yeah, they haven't really, and they nerfed a bunch of units that would have been OP. So again, the idea of Games Workshop is just selling units that are OP, nerfing them later. Like there's the opposite. They nerfed them before they sold any of them. We don't even know when they're going to be out. Which again that's good because you're they're paying attention to the health of the game. They're acknowledging that there's a problem with their abilities. Now, a lot of the top competitive people are saying, well, yeah, Votan's probably still going to be strong, maybe not Harlequin or Admech level at their height, but they're still going to be good. But, this is a good indication of Games Workshop, again, paying attention and actually fixing problems that they caused, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, there's some other there's some YouTube personalities which I like, and I think they have a point. I agree with them at some point where we don't know if Votan is actually OP. We we're just told they're OP, and on paper they look OP. It's like the railgun thing. The railgun looked OP, but if you looked at when Tau came out, the ninth edition codex came out, no one was sweeping tournaments with railgun spam. They were sweeping tournaments with different things like crisis suit spam or whatever. So are they really OP? Right? We don't know that.
Well, we know
And
a little bit about how OP they are. I mean, the big thing was the
you know,
judgment tokens.
right. Again, on paper it looks OP, but we don't like there's the on paper stuff and there's the actual game stuff. So again, it seems OP. Rolling, getting 9-12 damage that splashes over ignoring invul seems pretty strong, and being able to do that quite easily with judgment tokens it seems pretty OP. But we have no data. This isn't a data driven decision, and some people are saying, well, if you're making balanced choices, you should be doing it from a data analysis mindset. Now, whether you agree or disagree, I'm not sure where I stand there, but that's a lot of the pushback. And the other pushback is that Games Workshop is catering to the tournament people, which is in the minority. And now, in a vacuum, this is okay. Like this, in a vacuum, this change is okay. But moving forward, are we seeing a War Machine situation where you're catering more and more to the competitive crowd, and then the game becomes more and more competitive? And not necessarily balanced, because War Machine wasn't balanced at the end of the day. It was more balanced than 40k, but there were still some units you never took. There were still some factions. Well, most factions did well, but not all factions had good internal. Actually, no, almost no faction had good internal balance. And that kind of competitive attitude, some say, contributed to the decline of War Machine. While 40k is more casual nature, and not even just casual nature, the fact that it caters to everyone, right? It caters to the competitive people, it caters to the narrative people, it caters to the casual people. But now you have the situation where the book isn't fully out yet, and there's already a balance patch for it. And I want to hear your thoughts, Matt. But this is like Legion is also experiencing this kind of problem. But what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, it definitely sucks for the people who bought the box, who obviously knew about the clear strengths of the army, and then that ability being taken away from them. So, you know, I'm sure those people feel a bit cheated. Okay, I'm gonna call you guys the power gamers. I feel like the power gamers got cheated a little bit there. Uh, but a day one patch is scummy. I mean, this goes all the way back to when we say, day one DLC, all those supplement books for armies, even for armies that didn't even have a codex. No one liked that. All that stuff should have been in the book. I mean, now granted, those supplement books all got screwed up because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little more understandable. If this was such a huge problem, this should have been, stopped before the first box, aka the first book, has been released. Because now the book is completely irrelevant, which is, a very common problem in the 40k sphere, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, not completely irrelevant. More like it's not 100% accurate anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Votaan is you know, like the first example of something that's not widely available, right? Because no one has access to the book unless they had bought the box.
Right.
So technically, they can still fix this problem and reprint the book and get it out to where it be, up to date. But all the people who already bought it, their book completely out of date, which is not really a big problem when you think about it. Because just look at all the codexes that have come out this edition. My Dark Eldar book has been edited many times. The Eldari book got edited many times, especially the Harlequin section of the book. Tyranids. Like every army goes through a lot of changes. I mean, just look at the Necron book. Everyone in that book now has the core keyword, but I guarantee you the book right now does not have that. Though I'm not positive on the electronic books. I'm speaking purely physical books. I don't know how well they're doing with the updating of the electronic books since I don't use it. But long and short, I don't think it's too much of a big deal. I think they caught the problem fast enough to where it's not gonna be that big of a deal. The only people who really got hurt are the ones who bought the box early.
For that purpose of I want to build an OP army. I want to get started.
Yes. So I don't think this is as big of a deal as people are making it out to be.
For me,
So
it does. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think it's at the end of the day, it's cool. They fixed it, but it does push into back into the topic of why shouldn't the rules just be all digital? Because you avoid this problem entirely, right? Where if the rules are digital and not even free, let's say you had to pay some subscription service for it, fine, whatever, but you don't have a physical copy that's invalidated or that has incomplete rules. You have a living document that's the most accurate in that has the most accurate information, and you have it right here. And that's just a problem with in this day and age where balance and updates are because of how the internet information works. People, it's easy to get data, it's easy to see what's OP, what's not. People reporting games and all that, people talking on forums or social media, and it's easy to see what's strong, what's not, and it's easy to communicate that, which means that the desire for an update increases. And coupled with the fact that our gaming culture is probably tied to video game culture, where that's a common thing. Balance patches happen all the time for many popular video games, and having physical copies just prevents that. Legion is having I guess I could segue this kind of news story, but Legion, the new Battle Force boxes that came out have a lot of misprints in the cards. Not a lot, but they're there. You have some like the clone sniper, the ARC Trooper sniper. So it's a black and red dice. You know what I'm talking about, right? It shoots black and
Yes.
red. But the Battle Force, the card that comes with it shows double red, and it's like, wait a second, is that an update? Is that a misprint? Because there was no FAQ drop that said, "Oh, ARC Trooper snipers now drop double red." Now,
No.
obviously, for us veterans, that's fine. We know we're gonna assume that's a typo because there's nothing official that says otherwise. But if you're a new player and you start playing Legion and you get a clone box, the Battle Force, and you've been playing your ARC Troopers with double red snipers, and now you go to a tournament and you're like your opponent's like, no, it's red black, and you're like, what? Like, yeah, let me call a judge, and the judge explains to you like, actually, that's wrong. It's a feels bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been avoided if digital rules
Yeah.
or yeah, I mean, Legion has did a lot of resources that offer list building services online, and they have third-party apps for that, and those apps, just like kind of like Battlescribe, have the full rules, probably better presented than Battlescribe, I will say, but they have the full rules. But you don't know that as a new player because it's not official. They don't say, hey, check this out. And going back to Games Workshop, it's even worse because there is a 40K app, but it sucks, and it's not a very reliable resource for stuff like this. So
Well, I
yeah.
mean, it goes back to like way back when we started this podcast. I've always said they could have had every book done by now, going by their original uh roadmap, if they had just released everything digital, because it's unacceptable that it's taking this long for these products to come out. Yeah, the pandemic screwed everything up. You gotta adjust and rework the whole schedule. I mean, I don't run a multi-million dollar company, so I don't really know all the logistics, but look at what they did for Warcry. They had problems, and then they just released all the factions to PDF, and then they sold a book if you
Yep.
really wanted it.
Yep.
You
If
telling
you
me
are
they couldn't do that? And honestly, for the Warhammer app, let me be specific here. The Warhammer 40k app, if it worked, I honestly would not mind paying a little bit more if it came with all the books.
Oh yeah, I would gladly pay like $60 a year for all the codexes updated. That'd be great. Oh, that's a worthwhile service for me.
Yeah.
And War Machine Privateer Press that's allegedly their plan for Mark IV, and that's how they've done it since second edition, since Mark II. So I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing, and it works great, right? So yeah, Games
From
Workshop should just do that. Now I understand that the Codex release does is a marketing thing, not necessarily. Oh, you make money by selling codexes. Yeah, you do, but also it's kind of the crux of this new release thing of, hey, new models come with a new codex. But even then, you could still have like, oh, it's an major update to Imperial Guard. Update drops November, whatever, some Saturday. Comes with all these new models at 10 a.m. App updates. Here are the new rules, right? They could do that. I mean, yeah, and yeah, I don't know the numbers because no one knows the numbers except for the guys in England about how much codexes actually make in terms of sales. But I really think that the Angry Games Workshop should move to. I'm not even gonna be fully fully radical here and say free rules, but move to an app and move to a subscription service, right? And
well,
yeah, move to a subscription service that lets you have all the rules available accurately with a working app.
yeah. Like I know they want to make their own little battle scribe, but it's just be a codex holder. I'd rather you just be a codex holder. I don't want you to be a battle scribe, really. I think battle scribe does your job better. But
Battlescribe isn't perfect. Like
oh no.
Battlescribe. Well, I will say this: Battlescribe is way better than GW, but the Battlescribe AOS isn't as good as the AOS app. And Battlescribe is absolutely garbage for Star Wars Legion, and is absolutely garbage for War Machine. Those official apps are just way better.
Okay, well let me rephrase it. I don't
But
need the Warhammer 40k app to be a battle scribe. I just need it to be a codex holder.
right, which is fair. I think it should be a Battlescribe, but it needs to be good. Otherwise, Battlescribe will be better. But
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah, at the very least, be like a rules thing. Be just like a a repository for rules and points and stratagems and all that. I could live with that for sure.
yeah. But yeah, it's not. It's they're never gonna do it, and that's just. I mean, I'm sure they will eventually do it because the books are gonna become obsolete soon. They're just
Yeah,
trying to hold on to what money they can squeeze out right now until they can get a perfect system for their digital copies.
yeah, absolutely.
But it's I don't see it anytime soon right now.
Yeah, I mean point updates are free. That's a start, I think. But
That's good. That's we're we're moving in the right direction.
yeah, but we
But
still got a ways to go for a workable system that is better than the current one we have.
exactly. So
Also, Legion, just official app, just do it. No more cards. I mean, I like cards, but you can't update cards.
I don't like the cards. I'd rather have an app
There we go.
because I mean it was just like you mentioned earlier about Legion. I mean I had bought that new Boba Fett model,
Yep. Obsolete. Card's not right.
official box. The card is not even the right card
Yep.
because it's missing one keyword.
Yep. Now that new card is free,
Mm-hmm.
but you wouldn't know that unless you download the update, which is unfortunate because again, you don't know.
Well, the website I use has it up there for free, but
Yep.
because I had the physical card and I'm new. I didn't realize there was a difference,
Right.
and that's those are the key points. But yeah, back to Votaan. GW could do better. They did the best they could for this. Hopefully, we don't have the same problems with IG and World Eaters, where they make a system so bad that they have to nerf it after they already sold books.
Yep. Honest, Angron's like absolutely OP. That's fine. He deserves to be.
Well, he is a Primarch. He should be somewhat good, right?
Yeah. And it's the thing. If you're gonna make things OP, make the cool things OP. I mean, they're not gonna do that because they don't know how to write rules. I'm still convinced Games Workshop does not know how to make things OP or not. That it's just an absolute accident that something's OP. But if they ever figure that out, make Primarchs OP. Fine with that. No complaints there because they're Primarchs.
Yeah, Primarchs are in a bad spot right now in 40k,
Unfortunately.
which is funny.
And in tech, honestly, in Heresy, Primarchs are not that good in the grand scheme of if you're trying to be competitive about it.
Yeah, it's a curse. They're supposed to be the best thing out there, the best super weapon, and
Yep.
no one really takes them. But we can move on from the Votaan story now, and we can go on to something else. Heresy Thursday, which we're getting. I think you called another assassin.
Another assassin. And this one is a remake of an old assassin.
Is it now?
Yeah. There's an old model from like second, third edition that looks exactly like this, except it's like that derpy old 40k look, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. This guy just looks like I don't know my GI Joe well, but I'm gonna say Snake Eyes.
Yeah. So that is what everyone is saying. Is that a bad thing? No. I think it's cool.
No, I mean everyone likes ninjas.
Yeah. So I mean he's cool. Will I pick it up? Maybe.
I don't know, man. I kind of want to pick up all the assassins. The only thing that stops me is that it's Forge World cast. So
And they're loyalist only.
well, I mean, I just throw them in my Black Templars.
Oh, that's true. Very true.
I already run the Calidus assassin. What's a few more
There you go.
assassins?
What's in a few more, right?
But yeah, I like it. I think I've liked every assassin so far they've shown off.
Yeah, I mean, none of them I'm like, that's terrible. Some of them are cooler than others. This one is way cooler than the last one.
I think the first one's still my favorite, but
That one's cool with the Venom one.
yeah. But this one's good too. Got the It's got the gun that would definitely break his wrist if he didn't have some power armor on. Because that gun is just comically huge.
It is ginormous.
But yeah, there we go. Snake Eyes coming to 30k.
Yep.
40k soon, but there he is. And then to end it off, we have New Model Monday. And we got the Herald here. Got some Chaos Knights.
Yep. The musician of the Chaos Knights.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a good looking model.
It is. I am pointless rant here, but did not like how they just revealed this guy. Like there's a whole unit that comes with him. I wish they revealed they need the new unit because yeah, it's like where's the rest of the Chaos Knights?
Well, that's New Model Monday for you. They usually only release one model. But I mean, it looks good. As is the standard of AOS models go.
Yep.
Are you gonna pick it up? Are you gonna pick up these guys for your Slaves of Darkness? You have a Slaves of Darkness, right?
I have a small force, but I don't think I'll be doing anything with it. I'm probably gonna just trade it with one of my friends because one of my other friends is doing Slaves of Darkness. So, I mean, I'm so hyped for regular humans and Age of Sigmar.
Oh, well, they're coming.
They're coming, and
Eventually.
they're gonna be very generic, which is what I hope for.
Well, that's it for the GW news. I don't really have any other things to talk about news wise. You have anything?
No, not really.
Well then, I guess we go to hobby rants. I'll start off because I didn't do too much this week due to work, but I once again got another Star Wars Legion game
Yeah.
with a good old John there.
Yep. And that was a close one.
It was. Boss snuck out the victory.
Yep. Managed to kill Boba.
Killed Bubba. The Jug Lords and the reprogrammed droids took out
It,
the Imperial forces.
yeah. So yeah, because Maul has this thing where one of his 3 pips is a 1 pip. So getting that initiative is very reliable when you're playing Maul. So
Yeah,
that was
I got a little too greedy with good old
Boba.
with Boba. I was
Well,
like, you
as
know
you
what?
said,
He's too strong. He can't die. Little did I know.
you made it tough though because I was I had a whole plan for Maul and I had to absolutely scrap that to try to salvage the game. Because literally, if I didn't kill Boba, you would have won.
It's a plan.
Yeah. So
Just quite unfortunate.
yeah. Speaking of Legion, I was mentioning in our chat, but for our listeners, the game has gotten more sloppy in terms of rules writing. And the latest example is with our good old buddy the Mandalorian and his buddy Grogu. So the Mandalorian, so his rifle is a an equipment piece of equipment in the game, but it's not a weapon. Well, it doesn't have it's a weapon. It doesn't have a ranged attack. Instead, it has an ability where you activate this ability. You get to move one. You perform a speed 1 move, and you immediately get to pick. Then you pick an enemy, and they take a wound. Sorry, pick an enemy within line of sight, and they take a wound. Infinite range, no saves, no nothing. They just take the wound. Oh yeah, it's all right. That's pretty strong. But the hilarious part is, so you could take Grogu with the Mandalorian, and Grogu in Legion, individual models could have individual rules. So Grogu, Baby Yoda, has the small rule or keyword, which means he can't be targeted by ranged attacks. So in Legion, the unit leader has to see the enemy to shoot, which means normally the Mandalorian has to see the enemy to shoot. But the gun isn't the ranged attack isn't an attack, it's an ability. So what you could do is you could hide the Mandalorian behind a building, but have Grogu sticking out, and you can't be shot because Grogu can't be shot. And then Grogu just shoots the rifle at people.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So funny. But that's what happens when you don't stress test your rules. I mean, it could be a function of a new company is doing Legion now. It's no longer Fantasy Flight. It's now Atomic Mass Games. So maybe that's part of it. But it's just so like, wow, this is hilarious, and it's totally legal because that's how the rules work.
Is this like a new card or what? What's the
So
deal?
it's an equipment. It's like kind of like how you could give some characters weapons. Like you could give Darth Maul the dark saber. You can give Cassian a sniper rifle. You could give Iden a sniper rifle. Some of the newer, I think some of the older guys don't have this option, but some of the newer characters have this option. And now, yeah, you can give the Mandalorian the rifle that he has in the show. But again, the ranged attack is an ability, not an attack. Kind of like in 40K, where it's like a psychic power, but it's obviously the gun shooting, but it's worded like an ability. Like it's not an attack. It's pick an enemy within line of sight, and it takes a wound. Or sorry, roll a dice, and on a hit or something, it takes a wound. So you even get to roll a dice, but it's still not defined as an attack. So, and line of sight is measured from any model in the unit. So you just have Grogu sticking out, sniping fools, and he can't be shot back because he has a small keyword.
It's crazy. It's crazy
Crazy.
when stuff like that gets through.
Yeah, right.
No,
But
not everyone can catch that on their
yeah,
first go around.
exactly, exactly. But yeah, Legion's fun. I just painted Cad Bane and Bosk. So whenever is the next time we play, gonna drop those guys on the table.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't touched anything really. Last thing I did was build my Death Troopers, and that was about it. And then it was just like, what do I do now? And then just work. Work gets really crazy for me. Like, okay, work, sleep, repeat the cycle. It's pretty much was my week.
So yeah, it's one of those weeks, just getting busy.
Yeah, getting to that fall weather.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, for me, I just had that Legion game, did some hobbying at home, painted those characters, working on my kill team, and some more pikes. But yeah, bunch of 30K leagues going on in LA, so I'm gonna start attending those.
Nice.
So that should be fun. We'll there's a meetup this week, so we'll report next week how that goes.
Well, you'll report. I won't be there, unfortunately.
Yes, I will report.
Well, that's cool. I wish I could go to tournaments.
Too busy.
You know, my old job, I had weekends off. That's usually when the tournaments were. I don't have
Ah,
weekends off anymore, so I can't go to the tournaments.
fine.
It's a sad day, but it's gotta gotta pay the bills, unfortunately. That's just how the work schedule's worked out. But anyways, I think we can call it there. I'd like to thank everyone who made it to the end. And you know what? We'll see you next time.
Later, everyone.